and welcome to Video Game Hangover. I'm Randy Dickinson, and I'm in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Hey, I'm DJ Ross. I'm in Mountain View, California.
Each week on Video Game Hangover, we talk about the games that have been keeping us up at night. This week, we're getting hyped for the PS5. We're playing Bioshock Remastered, and we're digging into the enormous and amazing bundle for racial justice and equality with Hatch and Hidden Folks.
It is pretty enormous.
It's, 1,600 games? I believe it's 1,600 games.
At least, yeah. Probably like 1,650 since we've been talking.
And they keep adding more and more and more.
Yeah.
So, what's up, DJ? How you been? How's things?
I'm doing all right. It's been, just another week hanging out at home.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing really new to report. Should I have stuff to report? Are people getting up to stuff?
I feel like what's new is kind of a loaded question. I'm not sure, if people have an answer for that right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe it depends on what state you live in.
That is true. Are you talking about just your mental state or your physical location?
No, I mean those states that I keep seeing pictures of on the internet where they don't have any coronaviruses.
Oh, you mean whether people are acting like they don't have any coronaviruses?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. Yep. Hanging out at bars, going to the beach, living life.
No, I'm not really doing any of that. I mean, I'm living my life at home. It's fine. Been using this extended time at home to just familiarize myself with a bunch of different types of tea, which is kind of fun.
Oh, excellent.
I've had this little infuser for years, and I never really I don't know, this isn't all interesting to people, but this is just how I spend my time now.
If it's interesting to you, DJ, then carry on.
I don't know if that's a good benchmark for anything. But I don't know. I've just been experimenting, making a bunch of different loose leaf teas, about to start combining stuff together, making potions or whatever. I don't know.
Eye of Newt, hair of toad.
Yeah. See if they sell that on Amazon. I don't know. I drink a lot of tea. I haven't had coffee in a few months at this point.
Wow.
In the office, when I would previously go into work in an office, we just have the tea bags and everything. And I never really thought that it would be practical to just be brewing loose leaf tea all the time. But now that I'm at home 24 hours a day, or nearly 24 hours a day, I'm just this could be fun.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a new thing to get into.
Sure.
Before that, it was just drinking. What kind of whiskeys exist? So I feel like this is a little healthier.
I'll confess a slight panic goes through our house when we get down to oh my God, we only have 2 beers left.
Oh, I've been there, yeah. It's happened a few times. And it's not it happens with a lot of things now where you can't just run to the store on a whim to get a replacement.
Yeah.
But I'll get down to the last couple of cans or bottles and think I need a plan.
To venture out. Yeah, exactly.
Solve this.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't really come up with any new hobbies during the quarantine period. I'm into coffee as much as I was before.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of cooking on the grill. The weather has turned nice here in Pennsylvania. And I've been probably 4 nights a week, as long as the rain stays at bay, trying to cook on the grill as much as possible. I've mastered pizza on the grill.
Wow.
Yeah, and we've been doing, hot dogs and hamburgers, that kind of thing on the grill. Pretty easy too, but lots of veggies on the grill. I have these interchangeable plates on my grill, so you can do asparagus without them falling through the grates and stuff like that. So we're trying to just, anything we can cook inside the house. I'm like, I wonder if I can cook that on the grill.
Yeah.
And more often than not,
grill it.
Will it grill?
Your new YouTube series.
Yeah, exactly. Been trying to do a lot of that, which, not necessarily a new hobby. I've had a grill for a while, but this is the first time I've really done it multiple nights a week. It always used to be sort of a special weekend thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I can't tell when the weeks begin and the weekends end. So
pretty much.
Just, put it on the grill.
Good MO.
Yeah.
Put on the grill.
I actually got on a related note, and maybe of interest to some of our listeners or to you. My mom got me a book for Christmas called VBQ. And it's a big, beautiful color cookbook of vegan barbecue. recipes. I've been working my way through some of the fun stuff in there. So it's on Amazon. So yeah, just search for VBQ if that is of interest of you.
Nice.
To you. I made their seitan little riblets. And I've never really made a lot of seitan before. I did it once to do like a mock cheesesteak, and it came out pretty good. But seitan is pretty labor intensive, so I'm like, this is delicious, but I'm not sure if I want to put 5 hours of work into making a cheesesteak. So I threw the little riblet things on the grill and grilled them up and slathered them in the most amazing barbecue sauce I could find. And, I was appropriately fooled. My girlfriend was not. She still eats pig riblets. But, for somebody who's not had those in a very, very long time, I was like, this is delicious. There's all kinds of good stuff in there. Would recommend. Yeah.
Once again, I regret the fact that we record this before I've had dinner. Because somehow we just always end up talking about recipes or something. I'll live.
But we did not come here to talk about food and teas.
I was going to say, we will start talking about video games in a second. Don't worry.
Yep.
I just want to say, I don't know if I mentioned on here before, but since this has started, I'm actually pretty proud of the fact that I have prepared close to 100% of my meals myself.
Oh, wow.
I haven't done any takeout or like delivery anything. There's definitely been a few nights where I've done like the frozen gyoza or instant ramen. Or there's been a frozen pizza or two. But otherwise, it's just been a lot of slaving over the stove.
Good for you.
I'm pretty impressed. I'm amazed that I've lasted this long.
Are you meal prepping? Are you making like something you can eat throughout the course of the week? Or are you doing kind of one bespoke meal at a time?
I go back and forth. I always have just kind of like whenever I get back from the store, I'll just think like, okay, what do I now have? What can I make out of all this?
Yeah. There
have been a couple occasions where I have like chopped stuff up and stuffed it in the fridge for later in the week. And after, whenever I do that, I'm just like, God, who am I? Like, I've never been this organized when it comes to just preparing dinners. So
sure.
That's been a new experience.
Yeah. Yeah, we've done a lot more meal planning and stuff like that too. Particularly, we try to go to the grocery store just once a week. So in the past, like if I needed a thing on a Wednesday to like complete a recipe I wanted to make or something, just zoom out to the grocery store and pick that thing up. But just trying to not be in the store as much as possible.
Right.
Stay home, we've been doing a lot more sort of like, okay, Sunday we'll cook this, Monday we'll cook this thing, Tuesday you have to work late, so it'll be something quick, we'll just do this thing. So we've been much more sort of planful about those kinds of things than we've ever been in the past. And I used to travel a ton for work, so there'd be 3 or 4 nights a week where I would not be home. So
yeah,
again, like you said, who am I? I just have never had the luxury of being this consistently in one place before being able to plot out what am I going to eat and when am I going to eat it.
Oh yeah, I feel like almost a real adult.
Yeah, this was
terrifying.
What being my mom feels like.
Oh well, that's nice.
Sure. Yeah. Yep. If you find me at Kohl's trying to like stack double coupons, then an intervention might be necessary.
Okay, well, keep an eye on if that happens.
Yeah. My mom does love Kohl's.
Yeah. Okay, video games though. Before
Yay.
We just turn into old people.
Yeah, how about that PS5,
How
man?
about that PS5? Yeah, you excited about that thing? That weird looking thing. Is it weird looking? It's kind of weird looking.
It's unusual. It is a very unusual looking console.
Yeah, it's I don't know what to make of just the design. It's probably the weirdest console that like the weirdest mainstream console, I guess.
Oh yeah,
weirdest looking.
Absolutely.
I thought like before that was probably the Xbox 360. That was strange. But this is like a step above that.
Yeah. Somebody on the internet, and this maybe it was even you, DJ, said that it looked like the Wii dressing up as Batman.
I don't think that was me.
But... No, because it kind of has a white body, but it has like a black, like hooded, not hooded, but like collared cloak over it almost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what really gets me about it. Like the white and black is interesting. The fact that it's dual toned. The thing that gets me is it's got like those fins at the top.
Yeah.
Where the white kind of overhangs the whatever the black interior is, which is like, oh, that's a choice.
It really, I mean, it looks nothing like any other console that's in my house right now. So it certainly scores points for being surprising.
Yeah, it's definitely surprising. Yeah. It's very weird because the morning of that event, this was last Thursday, I think.
And what we're talking about is again, for not everybody who keeps up on top of the minutia of the video game industry, there was a delayed, but eventually it happened, kind of PlayStation 5 Future of Gaming event on YouTube last week, where they spent about an hour showing trailers, and there was a little kind of information drop, essentially, in the middle of it that didn't answer every question, but at the very least showed the console and a few other kind of accessories, the new camera, a new media remote, and stuff like that. That is ultimately, they're saying, still coming this year for gamers. So yeah, that PS5, we actually got our first sort of look at what the console will look like this past week.
So that morning I had my team meeting with a bunch of all the other designers at work and our bosses, and the creative director was just given the spiel about really pushing what people find acceptable in terms of visual design. And one of his points was that we should be, as designers, trying to make people get design to a point where it makes other people uncomfortable, because that's the only way design ever really changes and evolves past just kind of the bland, boring stock stuff.
Sure. Which
I think is cool. I think it's a really good philosophy. But then I saw this PlayStation, and I was just like, oh my God, what is this?
Somebody else got that pep talk too, apparently.
But I was like, oh, okay, I get it. That Sony is just trying to make everybody uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I do really enjoy, they showed the controller off a few months ago, and the controller is not nearly as mind-blowing as the console design. It's very different than... it's not too different than the DualShock 4, the PlayStation 4 controller. It's a much bigger leap, I guess I should say, than there has been between any previous PlayStation controller. It's a little funky looking.
Save maybe that boomerang controller for the PS3 that never saw the light of day.
I really wish I had gotten to hold one of those things. I'm so curious about that boomerang. But seeing it with the console now kind of makes sense, especially when they showed off all the other accessories too, because they all have this kind of weird white, almost looks organic, this the white plating on everything. It looks like somebody's wearing a weird crab skeleton. Or maybe that's just what I see in it. But it's very distinctive, and seeing it all together kind of makes sense. But just seeing the console, when the console just popped out of the weird CGI PlayStation buttons or the bouncy balls or whatever they had on the stream at the time, I was just really? Is this it? Very surprising.
Yeah, it is. Kudos for not making just another sort of black or gray box that goes inside my entertainment center. It definitely is eye-catching, and it's enormous. I think some folks have done... Huge. A little investigatory work on this thing and sort of compared the size of the USB port, which you can see in the photos, and sort of extrapolated out from there what the actual size of the console would be. And I keep seeing this infographic on Twitter of the PS5 compared to every other sort of video game console that has come before it. Mm-hmm. And it just towers above every other console. And I'm like, geez, I hope this fits inside my stupid IKEA entertainment center, or I'm going to have to go shopping again.
I don't think, I've seen that infographic. I don't think they had the original Xbox on there, but the PS5 is bigger than both the PS3 and the Xbox One, the OG Xbox One, which is enormous.
Yeah. And that original PS3 was huge too. That thing was a beast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, hope they know what they're doing.
Yeah. The other thing that I thought was surprising, and I know this appeals to you as well, is that during the PS5 event, it was announced that there would be a disk drive-less version of the PS5, which they're calling the digital edition. So obviously, it presupposes that you will have to download all of your games as opposed to buying physical. That's a pretty big step. I mean, certainly a step Microsoft made a year and a half ago. But it is surprising to see Sony going in that direction, and essentially sort of, foretelling the eventual heat death of GameStop.
I have, it's impressive to see it at console launch, because I assume both of these are launching alongside each other.
Yeah.
It's also kind of hilarious. I don't know if you caught Kyle Bossman's reactions to this event. Kyle Bossman.
I don't know who that is, so no.
I don't know. He used to, I think he was on the Easy Ally show. He did some stuff for game trailers back in the day.
Oh, okay.
But he was comparing the PS5 design side by side with the digital edition design. And it's pretty obvious. I mean, he really spelled it out, but if you just look at both of them next to each other, it's like clearly the digital version is the console they designed, because it's very slim and symmetrical. And then if you go over to the stock PS5 console with the disc drive, it looks like the digital one, but then there's just this lump on one side where they have to squeeze the disc drive in.
And a black gaping hole in the front of it that shouldn't be there. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's I wonder what the story is with that.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'm intrigued by a discless future for video games, but I don't. I think I'm less ready to make that leap than you are.
I've already made that leap.
Yeah, you're pretty much there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. For some reason I still get excited about buying discs.
I mean, I'd love to have a little jewel case that I can hold in my hands. Check out the box art and all that, but it's just another thing that goes on my shelf at the end of the day.
It's true. Yeah, it's just one more thing I have to move the next time I move.
Yeah, exactly. I probably I don't actually own any PS4 discs. I think I rented a couple over the life of this thing, but that's about it.
Oh wow. I cannot make that claim.
Yeah.
I don't know. It would have to be an enormous disk drive, what do they have, an SSD, right? A solid state drive in there now.
Yeah.
They have announced that the one in the vanilla version, I guess, with the disk drive is 825 gigabyte.
Yeah, which feels like not enough.
No, it's certainly not. So yeah, that digital edition has to be bigger, or there's got to be some potential for expandable storage.
It sounds like it. Like, didn't they talk about how it would be expandable when Mark Cerny got up and did his little lecture thing a couple months ago?
Oh, did he? I don't remember that.
I think so. It also just was a little bit more confusing than it should have been, because it was like you need to have this one specific type of drive that's guaranteed to work with the PS5, because it's like it's like a specialized hard drive, and like they have special system architecture to get it to work with the games optimally.
Right.
I can't speak to this as well as Mark Cerny, but it made it sound like you can't just buy any old off-the-shelf hard drive.
Yeah. As long as it's not sort of proprietary media like the PS Vita storage.
Oh, no. I mean, it's somewhere between that and just going into, like, I don't know, Best Buy. They still sell computer hard drives at Best Buy?
I'm not sure. Haven't been in a Best Buy in 3 months. Couldn't tell you.
Yeah, right.
I don't know what's happening inside Best Buy right now.
No one does. No. But
cool. No, I didn't know.
I feel like I'd probably get one of those, the digital one.
Yeah.
It makes me a little nervous that in the off chance that for some reason I do want to play a PS5 disc, I would not be able to. But I'm trying to imagine what that situation would be.
Yeah. For me, it comes down to just being a sucker for, like you said, having the plastic case in my hand, but also being a sucker for like a cheap deal. Like, Best Buy again will do, some recently released video game for $19.99 while it's still $60 or $45 in the eShop. And I'm still just light up at the potential of getting a deal on a video game like that. So, yeah, that has led me to buying more discs than I probably would otherwise.
Yeah. Well, I've managed to talk myself out of all those kind of flash sale deals on physical discs. It's worked
That's
out
why
okay
you
so
have
far.
achieved enlightenment, DJ.
It's true. I'm just sitting here, on my lotus leaf or whatever. It's great.
You are one with the diskless universe.
I wish occasionally, Nintendo will find a way, like whether it's through a Labo kit or they made me buy a cartridge to go with Ring Fit. It's all these big, weird, unusual game packages where you still have to buy a physical disc. So I own like 3 Switch games, I think, just no PS4 games.
Oh, that's funny. Cool. So, speaking of games, they showed a ton of games. There were just a ridiculous amount of trailers that were dropped in that Future of Gaming event. Was there anything there that caught your eye?
I don't remember anything except for Bugsnax.
That's the only one that you've
I
retained.
feel like I definitely remember them showing other trailers, but I don't feel like any of them really mattered after the Bugsnax. Because what was going on with that?
I don't know. That was odd.
It was very weird. It's I don't know a whole lot about it. It's from the Octodad people,
Right.
About an island where everything on it is simultaneously some kind of creature and also food. What are the wild rumors
Totally
I've
not
seen about
vegan.
it? Well, I mean, like, is it? Are they food or are they animals? I don't know.
Oh, is it just sentient food?
I don't know. Who can say? That may be revealed in the course of the game.
I'm going to need guidance from PETA on this.
My favorite wild rumor about it is that it is just going to pivot to like a body horror, like horror video game halfway through. Because the trailer, there were like pieces of the trailer that were mildly unsettling. I don't know how far-fetched that is, but it's fun to think about. Bugsnax. Coming to PS5, I guess.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but snacks, I believe, in this situation was spelled SNAX, correct?
Oh yeah, no, Bugsnax.
Talking about Bugsnax.
Bugsnax. Yeah.
Bugsnax.
Bugsnax.
I don't remember anything else they showed.
That's you kind of blacked out after that, huh?
No, they showed some good stuff. Like
Yeah.
I'm excited that they showed a lot of sequels. It felt like. I'm excited for that Demon Souls remaster because I did not spend as much time as I wanted to with that game. The new Super Brothers game. Well, I kind of forget what it looked like, but I'm excited that they're making another game.
Yeah.
We saw the first footage of Ghostwire Tokyo, which was like rumored to be canceled at some point because the creative director departed really abruptly after they revealed the game. But it looks kind of cool. The way there's Shinji Mikami, I think, still working on this.
Oh, really? Okay.
He like introduced it before they showed the gameplay footage, and the way he described it, he kept saying stuff like wanting to share. I'm totally paraphrasing. He wanted to like share a unique kind of paranormal experience, or like a paranormal idea of like Japanese ghosts or Japanese mythology with foreigners. And the way he was going about it, it made me think, well, maybe I have the wrong impression of this game, because everything up to this point sounded really kind of spooky. But maybe it's going to end up being something like Yokai Watch, where you got all the goofy little, Japanese mythological Pokemon, essentially. All those weird guys. But then they showed the footage, and it looks terrifying. It's just like Slender Man and, the girl from The Ring, and the Shinji Mikami game, so you're just gunning them down, doing all these crazy action moves. Look cool, though. Like a cool, spooky version of Tokyo.
Yeah.
Might be into it.
There was the Resident Evil Village trailer I thought was really neat. There was a lot of rumors going into the event that Silent Hill was being sort of rebooted in some way. And that started off in kind of an ominous, creepy horror game, kind of foggy kind of thing going on. I was like, oh, is this the Silent Hill thing? And then it pivots to being Resident Evil.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool. And it makes me want to play Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, because I still have not played that. And I've heard it's been kind of a cool return to, I guess, sort of more traditional horror, less sort of machine gun toting zombies than the previous games had been. So whatever this new kind of angle on Resident Evil is, I'm kind of into it.
I was thinking it looked like it might be Silent Hill during the trailer, but then I was just like, it's not quite gross enough to be Silent Hill. So when it turned out to be Resident Evil, I was just like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
The issue I have with this game, though, is is the actual name Village?
Resident Evil Village. Yeah, that's what I've seen it sort of referred to on the internet, yeah.
So Resident Evil 7 was super cool because the thing they did with the logo where it was like Resident Evil, and then they turned that into like the Roman numeral, or no, they turned it into a 7. It was like in the logo. And then Biohazard was the Japanese name. They also had a 7 in that, even though it's a completely different word, which is unbelievable. It's like one of the best logo designs of all time, I think. And then they just kind of did it again. They like turned the front of Village into a Roman numeral 8.
Yeah, the VILL, yeah, is.
Yeah, which is also cool, but it's like, you guys did the same thing again?
Is this a thing now? Yeah.
Yeah. Was it called Village before? Was it always called Village, rather? Like, did you just need to get something that worked with the logo? I was a little like, I don't know. The Resident Evil 7 logo is so mind-blowing to see it come back and just be like, hey, remember this?
Remember that thing you loved? We did it again.
I was just like, kind of.
I've got to assume there is a team of video game developers that are working on Resident Evil 9 right now.
Yes. I'm just like,
are just sort of sitting
going
around
through the dictionary,
staring at IX, trying to figure out what word they can make that into. Yeah.
6. Oh, wait. So that's just me nitpicking, but I hope the game's good.
Yeah. The ones that I liked were the ones that were sort of like, again, those things that you love about PlayStation, like Ratchet and Clank games. There's going to be a new one. And they showed, of course, footage of the new Ratchet and Clank game. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I'm here for. It's not necessarily the thing that I would buy a PS5 for, but it's exciting to know that thing that I love is coming back. There's a new Little Big Planet game, too, called Sackboy Adventures. Is that what it's called?
Like Sackboy's Big Adventure or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. It appears to be more of a sort of traditional 3D platformer and not a game where you have to build everything from scratch. So that's kind of a fun way to sort of distill the Little Big Planet thing down into its essence.
That's interesting because I always thought that the actual creation stuff was the core of that game. And I find the idea of playing an entire game that is just Little Big Planet platforming physics incredibly unappealing.
They do need to sort of address that floatiness a little bit, and I hope they do. We'll see.
That's cool though. Like Sackboy has been around in a while, right?
Yeah. He took much. Their Little Big Planet 3 was on the PS4 a while ago, but has otherwise sort of taken much of this generation off. So it's exciting that he's coming back.
It's surprising, actually, just seeing some of the games that they announced, just how many games it felt like were completely absent this generation. Like Gran Turismo, there was that Gran Turismo Sport thing. I don't know how it was kind of like uneven reception on that, I think. But then they announced Gran Turismo 7 for PS5, and I was just like, oh, that's kind of weird, right? Because it used to be like this flagship series, and they just kind of didn't make one.
Yeah.
Well, they kind of made one.
I think Sony, more than anyone else, has a weird habit of like trying to make something a thing. Like for so long, they were trying to make MotorStorm a thing. Remember MotorStorm games? Like,
I wish I didn't.
There were racing games. There were a ton of them on the PS3. I believe there was one on the PSP. There may have been one on the Vita as well. So yeah, they were trying really, really hard to sort of make that a thing. What was that shooting game with the aliens that they were trying to make happen?
Oh, that game?
Resistance?
Oh, yeah.
Like, they kept making Resistance games and no one ever cared.
Didn't they have... What was the PS4 launch game? Oh, that was Killzone.
Killzone, yeah. Which also sort of was a big thing for a long time and then totally went away. Yep.
I mean, I guess in some cases they know when to quit.
Leave them wanting more.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool that Gran Turismo is coming back. I just thought it was kind of weird that we got this half a Gran Turismo game.
These things kind of disappear. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like that's a weird way to sort of show off your PS5 technology because every time I've seen a Gran Turismo game in my life, I sort of feel like it looked just like that trailer.
Just
like
every cars.
Yeah, every Gran Turismo looks like car porn. And if you showed me a screenshot from any Gran Turismo game throughout history, I don't know if I could tell you which generation it lived on because they're all sort of equally kind of plastic and shiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool. It's cool for Gran Turismo fans that they're getting a full sequel.
Totally don't want to take that away from anybody, but yeah.
It was just a weird reminder, especially since they opened with Grand Theft Auto 5, surprise. Yeah. It's like you can't be serious, right? Oh,
I love that
5
disparity.
again.
It's sort of like the future of gaming is a 10-year-old game.
The future of gaming is just everything continues to be GTA 5. They're never making a new one.
Gross.
It was just weird. I mean, I wonder if video games, like development and budgets, are just at the point where it's impractical to make more than one installment per generation. I think it's kind of reasonable, actually.
Yeah. Well, and plus the whole sort of approach to kind of games as service is much more prevalent than it had been in the past. So it's conceivable that you could make a GTA 5 and it could last 10 years. If you support it and keep plugging new shit into it. So
I kind of feel like that's the way to go. I was just talking about this with somebody. I forget what game it was. Maybe like Mario Kart or Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
Like the new Smash Brothers, it just has everybody in it. How can you even follow that up?
Where do you go next?
It's like,
yeah, exactly.
Unless the other one also has everybody in it, it's going to be a step down, I feel like.
Yeah.
Just make everything a platform. Like, just give me Mario Kart Online. Don't make a Mario Kart 9 or whatever. Just keep building off that other thing for as long as feasibly possible.
I don't disagree. You and I have made podcasts for a long time together, and we had a version of this conversation years ago with regards to Rock Band.
Rock Band had it figured out for a while.
Yeah, for a while, and then they kind of stopped doing it. So, but yeah, it felt like, Rock Band was this platform, and they were just going to keep plugging songs and do it forever and ever and ever, and you would just keep hammering away on your plastic drums as long as new music came out.
Yeah.
So yeah, it seems like others have paid attention. But yeah, there were other games in there too. There were some cool indie games that they showed and other things that were definitely intriguing. But much of this still feels very sort of far off. Yeah, there were no release dates. There was no prices talked about or anything like that. So again, there are still sort of months and months and months of speculation and questions to be answered before anybody actually brings one of these PS5s into their house.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to think at this point. I don't think. Well. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't made a decision whether it's the digital edition or the other one or nothing. Undecided. Yeah,
I'm a sucker for a cool new toy, and I've never met a video game launch that I didn't want to be at. So I think the question for me is like, which of these games or other games are actually coming out on day one with this thing?
I feel like probably not many of them.
I suspect not many as well. Yeah. I think it's going to be a very light launch window.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
I did notice, I'm sure you noticed this as well, when they showed that developer, the collage of everybody on their webcams at home, I'm assuming, at the end, who was right almost dead center frame, but Mr. Naoki Yoshida, producer and director of Final Fantasy XIV, what was he doing there? What do you think he was bringing to the PS5? What could that be?
DJ. What would you like it to be?
I don't know. Could be something interesting.
Silent Hill. No, I don't know.
God. I heard a rumor that Final Fantasy 16 was supposed to debut at some point, but was pulled at the last minute. I don't know how much truth there is behind that, but just another fun rumor.
Good times.
Yeah. Mysterious. Anyway, video games.
So we have many more months of PS5 and Xbox One speculation to look forward to.
Not that many.
No, it's not really that many, actually. Yeah. I feel like this has got to be like a Black Friday kind of thing, right? You've got to get these. If these are not out by Thanksgiving, what's the point this year?
You think there could be literal zombies at Black Friday this year? There might be.
Might be.
Just the way things have been going.
Yeah. It seems like the internet seems to sort of constantly speculate on like what each month's horror is going to be. So, yeah.
What happened to all those hornets? Well, remember that was a thing?
Yeah.
We're just like, oh god, now it's May, it's Hornet month, and then they just went away.
Yeah. That might have been a little overblown, but
maybe a little bit, but.
But well, good. That's fine. The fewer murder hornets I have in my life, the better.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So one of the games that I've been playing lately, and this is probably a weird pivot from talking about PS5 games, is I've been playing Bioshock. The Bioshock kind of remastered collection came out for the Switch not too long ago, and I'm a Bioshock fan. I like the first one a lot. Never played the second one, and really enjoyed the third until I sort of thought about it.
That's kind of how I felt about it.
I think a lot of people went that way on Bioshock Infinite. I sort of talked myself out of liking it over time. So when these popped up again on the Switch, and the collection started getting pretty good reviews, and there were sort of a lot of sort of conversation about how surprisingly well it ran on the Switch, and etc. I was like, well, maybe this is kind of worth dropping a couple bucks on. I can play Bioshock 2 again. I can dig into 1 and 3 and see if I find anything new or come to a new level of appreciation.
You can play through Infinite until you get to the barbershop quartet singing God Only Knows, and then just turn it off. Speaking of quitting while you're ahead.
No, there's the DLC for Bioshock Infinite that I loved, where well, no spoilers, but there is a piece of add-on content for Bioshock Infinite that made me love the series again. So I would want to play up to that point.
That seems like their thing, because I heard Bioshock 2 was uneven, but then there was that Minerva's Den DLC or whatever that everybody's raving about.
Right.
So I was just like, do I have to play like the mediocre, like larger campaign to enjoy the DLC? I don't know how this works.
So the dilemma for me at the time was, but the first Bioshock felt like a done thing. It has a fairly concise ending.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like it sort of left me wanting more. It felt like sort of that is a product unto itself. It has a beginning, middle, and an end, and I'm not dying for Bioshock 2. And then sort of the proposition with Bioshock 2 was sort of like, you get to be a big daddy, which is sort of the big monster in the game. And like, it totally didn't feel like the people who were making Bioshock 2 knew what made Bioshock 1 cool. So I on principle was like, no, I'm not playing this stupid game, and didn't until now. So I think like you, I've decided I want to sort of approach these in order, and just play through them as they come and dip into all the DLC and stuff. And I've got nothing but time, so I will take my time. And if it means I play 10 minutes a week until I get through all of them, then so be it. Although for the first Bioshock, I'm moving a lot quicker than that. Yeah, I'm super surprised by how well it runs on the Switch. It looks great. I do find that I have to crank up the brightness. I'm playing on handheld primarily, and I have to crank the hell out of the brightness for me to be able to see anything that's going on in the first Bioshock. But it is sort of by design a very dark game, so I think I'm fighting with that a little bit, but it runs really well. I've not noticed any slowdown. It seems pretty locked on whatever frames per second they're trying to achieve there.
120 frames per second,
just
4K
millions.
switch screen.
All the frames. It just feels nutty to be able to sort of play Bioshock on a handheld device.
That is kind of nutty, actually. When the original came out, it was like 2007 or something, I had just put a new graphics card in my PC, and this was like the inaugural game I played on it.
Excellent.
And it opens and you're just like in the water and everything is on fire, and like the flames are reflecting off the water somehow. And I was looking at the image on my computer screen, and I was just like, I don't understand how my computer is like rendering this. It like looks so amazing and so beyond any other game visuals at the time.
Yeah.
It was really just like, it's kind of mind blowing. I don't know if I wonder what that would be like just holding in my hands on the Switch. That may just be worth getting into just to see that.
I had to poke around in the settings a little bit. There's not a ton of customization you can do, but I did kind of poked around at the brightness a little bit to be able to adjust that. And there is a setting and I'll recommend this for anybody who else is maybe playing it on the Switch and also trying to play it primarily handheld. I forget exactly what the phrasing is, but it tightens up your field of view, so it does a thing where it pulls you back a little bit so you can see more to the perimeter. And I find that sort of like turning in that game, it made the corners of the screen seem real swimmy. So I turned that off. It's on by default, which is an odd choice. I turned that off and it sort of tightens up your kind of view box, I think, and it makes the game look a lot better.
It's like you can't see option.
Kinda, it's yeah. I wish I had my Switch in front of me because I would read to you exactly what that setting is called. But it should be obvious to anybody kind of roaming through. There's not a lot of settings, like I said, but if you go into the visual settings, there's a thing in there about narrowing kind of your field of view in the game, and it feels a lot better if you do that. It feels more like you're kind of looking at a TV.
You're playing this in handheld mode.
Primarily, yeah.
That's interesting, actually. I know, like field of view feels like a very like PC visual option to me.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen it on a console.
Oh.
But it's weird because, you sit much closer to a PC monitor than you do a TV typically.
Right.
So it makes sense that a game designed for one platform would not look quite right on the other one if you had the same field of vision.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, because you're playing on the Switch, it's like right in front of your face. So
right. Exactly. Yep.
I wonder if it goes back and forth, like you dock it and it goes, put the, field of view back to whatever it was.
I haven't sent it back to my TV yet. I've been playing it. I have a Switch Lite now that I basically is my Animal Crossing machine. But I've been bouncing back and forth to Bioshock, between Bioshock and Animal Crossing, which is jarring. But I've not sent it to my my main Switch to play it on the big TV yet. So I do want to kind of compare and contrast just to see what the difference is.
Is it easy to transfer saves between if you have multiple Switches?
Oh yeah, it's crazy easy.
Oh really? Oh
yeah. You have to have the foresight to obviously download it on both consoles, but have the foresight to hit the plus button on the console you want to play on, and say download save from cloud in advance, and it'll. We found a save for this. It's from this date at this time. Is this the one you want?
Yeah.
Just hit a button. It takes about 2 seconds, and then you jump in the game and pick up where you left off.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, it's nice. It's surprisingly efficient.
Yeah, especially for Nintendo.
Right.
It's like,
exactly.
Wow,
that's what I meant by surprising. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Not every game supports it. Sadly, Animal Crossing does not support it. So there are still some weird Nintendo choices being made about that. But for a lot of other games, it has worked beautifully. I did that with what was I playing recently? Mario Odyssey, which I played primarily on kind of my main Switch hooked up to my TV. And I thought, well, wouldn't it be cool to sort of run Mario on my my little Switch Lite? And I remember that so much of Mario Odyssey relied on you being able to do motion controls. And I was curious how that was going to work on a Switch Lite, which does not have detachable Joy-Con.
Does it have gyros at all?
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah, but it doesn't have rumble.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, so there are hidden moons in Mario that rely on you sort of walking around and feeling the controller start to rumble, and then it sort of gets like a furious rumble going when you find it buried under the ground under you, and that doesn't work on the
You just can't
Switch Lite. There's actually a thing that pops up that is different. There's a video for it I saw on the internet that it gives you some sort of visual clue on the screen of where that moon is hidden if you play on a Switch Lite.
I think I actually turned Rumble off on my Switch. It was just I couldn't take it anymore, whether it was something in Animal Crossing that did it all the time or some other game that I was playing. I think it's just when it rumbles in handheld mode, it's so obnoxious and like loud. It's like, I don't want this anymore.
It scares the crap out of my dogs because inevitably, like, the controller is like on the couch cushion or on the coffee table when it starts going brrr.
Yeah.
And they don't quite know what's going on.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Yep. But what my point was is I popped the cartridge for Super Mario Odyssey in my Switch Lite and hit the plus button, and it was like, oh, we found this game save from 2.5 years ago. Do you want to download this? And it was the last time I played Mario Odyssey. Downloaded it and picked up right where I left off.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, short. I guess in short, Bioshock runs surprisingly well on a tiny little device like the Switch, and I'm having fun with it. I like I said, I am a fan of the first Bioshock. I like that it doesn't get maybe the credit it deserves for being a surprisingly scary game.
That's pretty creepy.
Yeah, I think it functions really, really well as a horror game. There's a lot of sort of like scary monsters that come screaming out of the dark at you. Nearly every time a door opens, you're kind of like afraid to walk through it. And I love that about Bioshock. And I didn't get that feeling ever in Infinite. So I'm having fun kind of dipping back into that.
Nice.
Yeah.
I still have fond memories of that first Bioshock. The last boss was a little sketchy, but I think that's what everybody says.
Yeah. That's I think that's a common analysis of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am obligated to mention that who's the guy? The
Ken Levine.
No, not that guy.
Not that guy.
The Andrew Ryan, the guy in that game, is voiced by Armin Shimerman, who is Quark, the Ferengi bartender on Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Oh, really?
Which is just super weird. He's doing a completely different voice, but if that means anything to you, and you happen to also be replaying Bioshock, just keep that in mind.
Okay, I don't know who that is, but I will do some Googling. And
I'll put a picture of him in the Discord or on the website. It'll be good.
Excellent.
You'll be like, that doesn't make any more sense now that I've seen this.
That is the Ferengi.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, cool. What a small world it is to be a voice actor.
I just like that he's getting random voice work in games like this.
And not letting Nolan North and Troy Baker take all those jobs.
No. I think, I forget the other guy who talks to you throughout the whole game. I feel like was someone notable, but I don't remember who it was.
I don't remember the Atlas, right? The
guy who talks to you on the
Irish
radio.
Guy. Yeah. Right. I don't know who the voice actor on that is. Yeah.
Patrick Stewart.
Why not?
It would be nice. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, I will. If I stick to my Bioshock plan, I will dip into Bioshock 2 probably a little more detail when I get to it, because that'll be the first time I play it.
Nice.
And maybe Infinite at some point in the distant future when I arrive there. But yeah, kind of fun to go back to these Bioshock games.
Yeah, I'm super curious about the Bioshock 2 DLC. I think that was the guy who wrote that or designed it went on to make Gone Home. So
very
it's
cool.
a weird kind of connection between those two.
Yeah, career pivot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wonder how much of that, how much of the stuff they put into the DLC connects with Gone Home, or is like kind of thematically similar. It'd be interesting.
To be determined. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
So you have been dipping into the enormous bundle for racial justice.
I've been playing 1,600 games.
Hey, excellent. So tell our listeners what this thing is, and just in case maybe they have not heard of it.
Yeah, so, a lot of stuff going on in the United States over the last couple of weeks. You may have seen people, posting their favorite charities where you can donate to, like a lot of bail funds or just kind of social justice charities.
Mm-hmm.
But the one that is particularly relevant to gamers is this itch bundle, itch.io. They have put together this thing called the Bundle for Racial Justice and Equality. It originally started, I forget what it started with. It was like 700 games or something like that, which is unbelievable. I think even when it started, like on day one, it was the largest bundle of games that had ever been assembled like this.
Awesome.
But they just keep adding stuff to it. Everybody is so excited to like donate to a good cause, put their games into this thing. that as of recording, this is actually it ends a few hours from now as we're recording this, and I think they've just cut off people from being able to add stuff to it. But it is, like you said, over 1,600 games, or just projects, I guess. Because I think there are a lot of, since this is on itch, which is kind of like the indie version of Steam or the Epic Store, there are a lot of projects in here that are kind of like game assets for aspiring developers. There are just a ton of complete playable games in here, though. It's pretty staggering.
And there's some really good games that we've talked about quite a bit in the past.
Yeah, there's some good stuff
in here. Yeah, like, and I'm not sure if this is the place for this, but Oxenfree is in there, which is a great game. Totally would recommend. A Short Hike is in there, which I think popped up on both mine and DJ's sort of favorite game list from last year. Yep. So definitely play A Short Hike if you got this thing.
A Night in the Woods, Celeste.
Yeah, Night in the Woods is in there. Fantastic.
Just scrolling through this thing, I'm like, wow, this game is in here, or this game is. I was just like constantly surprised. Not only by the number of games, like really good games that I've played that are in here for $5, but also just so many games that have been kind of on my list to check out for years. I was like, well, I guess now is the time. Anodyne, which I played and talked about recently, is in here. I'm just scrolling through it right now and still discovering stuff. Wide Ocean Big Jacket, we just talked about recently.
Right.
Nuclear Throne. But anyway, so they put together this bundle. Proceeds are split between the NAACP Legal Defense Fund and Community Bail Fund, which is great.
Yeah.
And it's been amazing to see this thing building momentum over the last week or so. It's up over, as of me saying this, $7 million raised, about to break $8 million if they can get another 200,000 in the next 3 hours and 35 minutes.
At $5 a pop.
Yeah, or $5 or whatever you want to toss in extra.
Right, sure, I guess that's true.
But really just unprecedented, and it's for a good cause. Just an absurd amount of games and miscellanea in here.
Sure.
It's been a struggle just to figure out what to check out in here. Because there are games that I recognized, like I said, I've been meaning to try out for years. And then a bunch of other stuff, which is just like, I've never even heard of this thing, but it's got a cool icon in the itch store, so maybe I'll take a look.
And this has been, and we'll plug our Discord here. We've had some really good ongoing conversation as we dig into the bundle on our Discord. Sort of people recommending games and where to begin your search through this just piles and piles and piles of video games. So if you're looking for further guidance on this, certainly there's places all over the internet where you can get that. But our Discord, we've been trying to sort of filter through some of the games on here and talk about where to begin and what's good. DJ, you put together a little kind of list, right, of recommendations?
Yeah, so I actually put together an itch collection of games that I have already played or at least spent significant time with, and I will vouch for as being worth your time. And it is still probably less than 1% of the games that are in here. There's so many. But I'll have a link to that on the blog at VGHangover.com. And I will continue updating that as I get into more of these things. I've also been trying to stream some of these just as I discover them. So that will just be an ongoing thing from now on, I guess. But I played 2 of these over the weekend. 2 games that I had already heard of, which were, let's see, the first one is called Hidden Folks, which is on Steam as well, and I think is even on the Switch. This is essentially... It's very similar to Where's Waldo, or if you live outside the United States, Where's Wally, in that you're presented with a huge, very intricate scene, lots of detail and objects present, and you have to locate one or two, or just a handful of very specific objects or people. You know how Where's Waldo works, right?
Right, yes, yep.
Okay, so if you just imagine that, but it's got a very kind of minimal black and white line art look to it. So it looks very kind of striking, very different. Not quite as heavy, I guess, as Where's Waldo. Mm-hmm. But just, again, tons of detail. You are given, it starts you off real easy. It starts you off with it's a pretty simple scene. Everything fits onto one screen. It's zoomed in pretty far, so you can kind of tell, oh, these are just a bunch of people hanging out and you have 4 or 5 objects to find, and you just click on them after scanning the scene for just a few moments. I felt like it didn't take very long. I was just like, oh, here's this guy, here's this other thing. Great, on to the next level. And then the next level is just maybe 10 times the size of the initial one. It starts way zoomed out, so you're just looking at probably, I don't know, I'm not really sure how to measure this thing, but basically just imagine your entire screen is filled with just a spread of Where's Waldo style illustrations and like microscopic characters.
Just super dense, packed with distractions that are meant to sort of prevent you from finding the thing you're looking for.
Yeah, and they're like a bunch of little cute animations. Some of the characters are moving around. Not like nobody's really like wandering from one section of the screen to another. They're pretty much just staying in place and, hopping up and down and waving their arms or something. But it's crazy to just look at this thing and look at the list of items you're supposed to find, which range from, people or animals down to one scene where it was like, okay, find a banana. And this one scene was in the middle of the jungle. So it's like, oh, I guess it's plausible that there's a banana in here somewhere. It can be kind of challenging. So how they kind of assist you with that is as you mouse over each of the items you're supposed to find, it will give you a little bit of a clue, a little bit of a description, which I realized are actually hinting at how to best find this thing. So it's like, so-and-so is a lumberjack about to chop down, his greatest accomplishment or greatest challenge yet. And so I was just like, I guess I should look for the largest tree in this entire scene. And lo and behold, I found it, and at the base of it was this lumberjack that I was trying to find. So they give you a little bit of direction, which makes it significantly easier than if they had just said, like, find a chicken somewhere in the screen. But it's still quite challenging. So I expect to spend a little bit of time just scouring each scene, trying to find these things. I found the puzzle aspect actually pretty entertaining because sometimes it will, I don't want to give away any of the puzzles or anything, but the way they present the clues alongside the image of what you're supposed to find is pretty fun. Where it'll say, again, I don't want to give stuff away, but you will need to kind of scour the clue itself for help in locating all these things.
Oh, cool.
Some of them are initially not visible, like you need to click on other stuff in the environment, which I was a little frustrated with at first because I was expecting to just scan through everything and being able to locate everything visually. But as soon as I realized I have to do a little detective work on some of these, I was kind of okay with it. It doesn't really penalize you for just clicking wildly around the environment, so you are free to do that if you have a hunch that something might be in some area. But yeah, it's a little bit more involved than just panning over the screen 100 times until you locate everything.
Cool.
Another weird quality about this that I was not expecting is that all of the sound effects in the game are kind of produced a cappella. It's like I assume it's the developers providing their own voices for things, but it's not just like they are doing human voices or animal voices. They will kind of make sound effects of leaves rustling or whatever else happens in this game, like plants growing, or whenever you click on stuff, they'll just make kind of a clicking noise, or if you find something, they'll go like bing with, just weird mouth generated sound effects. It's definitely a choice. I found it surprisingly irritating.
Oh, really?
I don't know what it is, but it's just like having somebody breathing in your ear the whole time you're trying to play this.
Oh.
It's I don't know, it's weird. It's like it's very cute and kind of endearing, but after 30 seconds of playing this and realizing somebody's just going to be kind of not really talking at me while I'm playing this, but just making weird sounds in my ear. I don't know. I found a little off-putting.
Oh.
So I turned that off and just kind of put on some music or something and kind of zenned out with the rest of it.
Okay, good. Oh, that's funny.
I don't know what it is. I was not expecting to have that kind of reaction to it. But yeah, it's the game called Hidden Folks. It's part of this massive bundle. It seems good if you just need something to kind of zone out and relax to. You're not looking for like a high stakes video game or something to play. I don't know if you're ever in the mood for that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think so. There's something sort of satisfying about kind of classic puzzles, and I think sort of the hidden object is kind of a classic puzzle type, like a word find or a crossword puzzle, even to a certain degree, or Sudoku. I mean, just sort of things like that. I like that it's sort of like there's one rule, more or less, and the entire challenge of the thing kind of hinges on that one rule. Yeah, I don't mind that. I like those.
I know the hidden object thing is like a whole thing on mobile, but I haven't really investigated that. Well, this seems like a cool intro to it, though.
Yeah.
I haven't played a game like this in a while. Actually, I've never played a game like, or a video game version of Where's Waldo, I suppose.
Cool.
And then the other game I played this weekend from this bundle is called Hatch. This one I really enjoyed. It is it's a pretty simple premise. You are some kind of mysterious creature that hatches from an egg, and for some reason you are tasked with climbing up this massive tower that just sticks right into the middle of the sky. It is enormous. The only sort of prompt you're given as the game begins is don't spend too much time looking at the sun. And sure enough, there's like this weird looking kind of half circle, almost looks like an angry eyeball kind of sun just in the middle of the sky. And sure enough, if you just wander out in the open in direct kind of line of sight with this thing, the screen will start to get a little staticky, and you'll get a little kind of like a static or like a Geiger counter. The little radiation clicky noise will start to build up, just to make you feel kind of uncomfortable. And if you spend too long exposed to the sun, you just, I don't know, you die, I guess, and you get sent back to a checkpoint.
Wow.
So your goal...
I told you not to do that.
Yeah, they told you. So your goal is to make your way up this tower, but generally by staying out of sight of this sun, this weird-looking, ominous eyeball sun. You do this by climbing... you're kind of given wordless instructions on how to climb this thing, but basically it boils down to you can... you basically stick to angled surfaces, like surfaces that are like sloped like a hill. So as long as it is less than like 90 degrees up and down, you can climb up it. You could kind of stick to it like Spider-Man as you're making your way up. You can move side to side on this thing as long as it is just at a slight incline away from you. And so it turns into this game of like making your way, kind of spiraling around this tower, or occasionally finding little interior passages through the tower that you are able to climb up to the next section while also staying out of view of the sun. It is all rendered in fairly primitively. It looks sort of N64 or PlayStation 1 era in terms of the graphics. So just like enormous polygons, really low resolution textures. But it's kind of, it's all got this weird, very surreal aesthetic. Like all these like super weird colors, like the ground and the sky is like bright purples and blues. So in some sense, it makes sense that, I don't know, you're just climbing up this weird 90s CGI tower in the middle of some dreamscape.
That is odd.
Yeah, it's very meditative. It actually reminded me a bit of playing, we played the mountain biking game a couple of weeks ago, the Lonely Mountains downhill.
Oh, yeah.
Except in this case, you're going up a mountain, or up a tower, I guess.
Lonely Mountains uphill.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're just given, like, the only real objective in that game is just get to the bottom of the mountain. And in this one, it's like, get to the top of the tower, and they don't really say, like, this is the way to go. They just kind of leave you to your own devices, like, find the route up this tower. And while I feel like there's probably only, I don't know, there's kind of one design route that the developer put in, you can kind of, hop between a wall here and there to try and get to the next level of the tower. It's not like there's one very narrow prescribed path to go through.
Cool.
So I played this quite a bit. It's not a very long game. I did get stuck at one point just because I was getting tunnel vision a little bit. I always kept trying to go one way. I kept turning right at this one section. I've ended up, the answer was I should have been turning left. And the farther along you get, kind of obviously the higher up you are of this tower and kind of the narrower everything gets. And by the end of it, I was just man, I was so high up in the air. Do you ever you're ever playing a video game and you just realize you are sweating on the controller?
Yeah, every now and then it happens.
Once
sure.
in a while.
Yep.
I mean, that happens to me fairly often. Depends on what's going on in the game. But I was getting very specific, this very specific feeling. I was playing this, and I realized I'm not just sweating on the controller or the mouse and keyboard in this case. I am getting the Mario 64 sweats, which is something I've probably experienced in a bunch of different games, but especially it reminds me of just being up on some high platform in Super Mario 64, whether it's Mario crawling across a very narrow bridge or a rock outcropping trying to get to the next star or whatever, where I don't know what it is about that game, but just it gave me a sense of vertigo that no other games have really achieved.
Oh, cool.
And I got that same feeling playing this. Towards the end of the game, everything is just so narrow and precarious. You can't help but look down and realize oh, I am really high up on this thing. There's nothing underneath me. If I don't land this next jump, I'm going to be falling for quite some time. And after a certain point, it's just jump after jump like this, where I would, miraculously land on the very edge of this platform and just kind of take a second and be oh, I'm still here. I'm not falling. To the point where I ended up finishing this thing way later. I stayed up way later than I intended to. And I was well, I can't go to bed because now I am just overloaded with adrenaline or whatever this is. I
just wired from playing this video game.
Just fingers are digging into my desk at the end of this game. It was unbelievable.
Wow.
It was so different than the early minutes of this game where you're just kind of making your way up the hill towards this huge tower that you're going to climb and kind of finding the path from point A to point B.
Huh. That's a cool trick, though, to sort of be able to crank up that intensity sort of slowly and subtly until you're sort of finding yourself in the middle of it.
Yeah, I don't know if everybody will have that reaction. I don't feel like I have a fear of heights or anything, but just some cases, some scenarios in a 3D climbing games, you take a second to realize where you are. You're just oh my God, how did I get here?
Excellent.
But I thought it was super fun. As soon as you kind of grasp how the climbing works, it's very cool. Very much like kind of the mountain biking game. You end up finding oh, this could be a path, and then you figure out how to jump over there, and you go, oh, it is a path. This is the way to go. It's very very satisfying. Lots of little kind of micro moments in that game that feel I don't know. Nothing really feels like discrete puzzles or anything, but it's a bunch of kind of smaller challenges sent at you back to back.
Cool. And you said you played through the entire thing. How long of a game is it?
You probably get through it in less than an hour, probably close to an hour.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Like I said, I got stuck in one section for probably much longer than I should have been. So I don't know how long it ended up taking me, but it's mostly a single sitting kind of thing.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that is called Hatch. It's on, I believe it's on Steam, Itch. Again, part of this bundle. Pretty cool if you don't mind just very low fidelity graphics, but just a very cool minimal kind of climbing experience.
Excellent. All right. So any thoughts on what you want to check out next in this mega bundle?
Oh, I have a whole list. There's another game by the guy who did he did this very photorealistic recreation of the Japanese shrine that incidentally also on a mountainside.
You've talked about that before.
Yeah, so he did. He basically just did another one of those, and I was really looking forward to playing that after Hatch because I thought it would be good to relax me, but then it was just too late. Had to go to bed, but I want to check that out. I've heard there's this game called Milkmaid of the Milky Way, which is supposed to be very good. Quadrilateral Cowboy. Maybe you've heard of that. But just like
I've heard of that.
Far too many games to list. I do have a completely separate list of just games I want to check out from this thing because there are so many and I've just been adding to it constantly. So I'll definitely keep checking in as I discover noteworthy stuff.
Excellent. Good. Cool. All right. Well, that is quite a show. Let's wrap this thing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you need any more video game hangover in your brain, we would recommend you follow us on Twitter. We're at twitter.com/VGHangover. And you can always get show notes, links, and tell us what you thought about this episode if you go to VGHangover.com.
Tell us your favorite 1,500 recommendations from the Racial Justice Bundle.
Yeah, definitely. Guide us, please. We definitely need help trying to figure out where we should be playing, what we should be playing out of this mega bundle. So yeah, definitely. If you have favorites that are buried in the 1,600 plus games, let us know what those are. You can do that on our Discord too. If you want to go to VGHangover.com, there is a link there that will take you right to the Discord. You can hop into the conversation with us. And last but not least, we would, of course, encourage you to subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and anywhere else you listen to podcasts. And perhaps most importantly, just tell your friends about us.
Yeah. To help us out a lot. Helps us get the word out. Maybe you have a friend who is just like, oh, man, I don't know what to do. I don't know what I was thinking. I just bought this thing. It's got like 1,700 games in it. I don't know which one to play. Maybe send them over to your friends at Video Game Hangover. We will point your friend in the right direction.
Absolutely. All right, cool. We'll be back next week. Until then, this is Randy Dickinson.
This is DJ Ross.
Thanks for listening to Video Game Hangover. Goodbye.
Good night.
See ya.